We'll call the meeting to order. Rich, could we have a roll call?
Mr. Donnie? Here. Ms. Sandy?
Here.
Ms. McCallie?
Here.
Ms. Mahmood? Here. Ms. Brogan?
Here.
Vice President.
The Ridgewood Board of Education has been meeting in executive session pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12. The minutes of that meeting will be released when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. And then I hereby move, pursuant to the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act, advance notice has been given to the Star Ledger, the Record, and the Clerk of the Village of Ridgewood. In addition, notices were posted in the office of the Board Secretary and in all school buildings. Please join me in a flag salute and Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I guess we're going, Dr. Schwartz, right to our student representatives report. So
We sure are. We look forward to hearing that. I think we had a quick, while we're talking about our student representatives, I think we had a quick recognition for one of our students, Mrs. Murphy.
Yeah, so last week I was informed that we have a finalist for the United States Youth Senate. So Grace Kim, who is one of 5 finalists. So of that group, of those 5 finalists, 2 will be representing the state of New Jersey and 2 will be alternates. So it's a really good shot. And from what I understand is that Grace's final interview went very, very well. So congratulations. Thank you for representing Ridgewood. Thank you for all of you for representing our public schools the way you do. And we really are cheering for you. I know you'll hear early January. All right, fingers crossed.
Thank you. And I'll just say real quick, many years ago, when I was a social studies supervisor, I was actually invited to go to the Department of Education and sit on the panel that selected the finalists for the state of New Jersey. And I will say, it was incredible to me that there could be so many exceptional young people in our state. Every single person who's nominated is outstanding. So, and it just speaks that you're among a crowd. I think there was ballpark of like 40 students that made it to that final panel. So for you to be part of the top 5 is really exceptional. So you should feel very proud of yourself, and we're very proud of you, Grace.
we'll move to comments from the public.
Oh, no, the students are doing that.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Moving along.
I don't think it's, oh, okay, so I'll be doing the school section of our report tonight. So to start off, to try and help offset the stress of the end of the quarter and upcoming college deadlines for our seniors, the RHS Guidance Department hosted the Seeing Eye with Puppies and Therapy Dogs on Wednesday, October 29th. The freshman focus students visited the Learning Commons for orientation over the month of October, where they participated in a goose chase scavenger hunt, which helped the newest members of RHS become familiar with the collection and services that we offer at the library. The woodworking and design students completed their building of their cutting boards, which will be on display for 2 weeks in the hallway display case. Anatomy and physiology students modeled body tissues using reusable modeling clay, and they guessed each other's types of tissues on Post-its and gave feedback using the bag method, which is begin with a positive, ask a question, and then give a suggestion. The ceramics students have shown impressive progress in class, mastering the pinch, coil, and slab method with skill and creativity. The Learning Commons proudly celebrates Native American Heritage Month throughout November and beyond. This month's window displays features of work with fiction and nonfiction books of Native American authors. The seal of biliteracy exam information was presented to students in level 4 of higher of the language that they're enrolled in at school. And students can sign up for the language that they take as well as any other language that they're fluent in. To achieve the seal, students must demonstrate the ability to speak, read, listen, and write in one or more languages, in addition to English at an intermediate level of proficiency. On November 2nd, members of the RHS band went door knocking to raise funds for the program through their annual poinsettia and amaryllis sale, which ran until the 14th. This fundraiser has been running for almost 50 years and usually results in about 4,000 plants being sold in and outside of Ridgewood each year. A student actually came to my house and we ordered poinsettias for Christmas, so that was nice. November 6th and 7th, the district was closed for New Jersey Teachers Convention, and November 12th was the 11th grade parent meeting. Also on November 12th and 13th, the NJSLA fall field test was administered, and the purpose of the test was to evaluate items for validity upon the actual administration, which will be in the spring. The district is not actually getting the scores to these tests, and grades 9 through 11 were tested on both ELA and math, while only some seniors were tested on math. November 18th is the FAFSA workshop, and it's a workshop to help explain how to fill out the FAFSA forms, which are for financial aid for college. Also, November 18th is going to be the class of 2029, which is the freshman semi-formal at Biagio's, which sounds fun. On November 19th is the RHS Orchestra concert at 7:30 in the campus center. On November 21st is the a cappella concert at 7 p.m. in the Little Theater. And November 25th is the Sharing Arts performance at 6:30, also in the campus center. So lots of musical performances. Project Graduation 2026 and B Ribbon joined forces to create new Ridgewood merch. That includes belts, dog collars, leashes, and keychains, and all proceeds go to the class of 2026. And lastly, the Kelly Cregan Coat Drive has started and runs now until November 29th. So now Arav will do clubs and athletics.
Thank you, Violet. Project Interact has been active volunteering at events including Spirit Night at BF, Halloween in the Park in Van Nest, the Somerville Book Fair, and the Ridgewood AM Rotary Food Drive on the 25th. On the week of October 24th, the club went around the school with their signature Shaker Cans initiative, in which they collected donations from students for breast cancer awareness. They raised about $700 in total, which speaks to the real care for our community that students in Ridgewood High School embody. On October 23rd, members of the French Club gathered for an exciting round of Pictionary. Instead of English words, participants were challenged to illustrate French vocabulary terms, putting both their language skills and artistic creativity to the test. The activity provided a fun and engaging way for students to expand their vocabulary, explore French language, culture, and traditions, and connect with fellow French enthusiasts. On October 23rd, DECA, which is our main co-curricular business and leadership club at RHS, they hosted a pumpkin night to bring club members together in a fun and creative way. DECA also came together to write 150 cards for our veteran visitors who visited RHS on November 14th for a special veterans breakfast and meet and greet. I believe Grace and Eli were at that event, if you guys want to elaborate.
So yes, I believe Dr. Schwartz was also there, but last Friday, RHS had our annual Veterans Day breakfast. And not only was I able to be present and talk to the veterans that were brought in by the American Legion, but I also had the opportunity to do the opening remarks, which is really exciting. And this was really a school-wide effort, as not only did students take time off their learning and their regular class periods to come down and have these conversations with our veterans, but also I believe our culinary class was involved in creating the foods. And this celebration was just really important to emphasize how much we appreciate the veterans service.
On October 25th, the RHS Fishing Club went to the Elmwood Park Marina to fish for carp in the Passaic River. It was their first outing of the year, and they're looking forward to an exciting year filled with many more. On October 25th and 26th, the Ridgewood crew team sent 29 entries across 15 events to the Schuylkill Regatta in Philadelphia. The team earned 6 medals, 2 bronze, 3 silver, and 1 gold, as well as many an individual additional top 10 finishes across the board, which is an amazing performance. And they did it again with 6 first-place finishes in the Hudson River Chase on November 2nd. To end Breast Cancer Awareness Month on the 28th, Ridgewood cheerleaders sold t-shirts to students, staff, and the Ridgewood community, raising $200 for the Pink Agenda, a nonprofit funding breast cancer research. On November 1st, junior cross-country athlete Catherine Keating was named North Jersey Female Athlete of the Week. Catherine also won the Bergen County Meet of Champions with a time of 17 minutes and 46 seconds. She's just one of 13 Ridgewood female runners to bring home the individual title. On November 1st, the RHS Marching Band attended the U.S. Band's NJ State Championships, where they finished in 7th place in the very competitive Group 4 Open Division. They also had their final U.S. Bands competition at MetLife on November 8th, and they placed 8th. This year in particular was quite special because it was the program's first time in the open class competition, not only requiring increased dedication from every member, but also showcasing the marching band's ability to adapt and perform under pressure. On November 2nd, 9 RHS Gold Award Girl Scouts were recognized at the Ridgewood Girl Scout Highest Awards ceremony, while 13 others received silver awards. Juliette Editois, Grace Freeborn, Christine Nally, Rihanna Sorogi, Anna Dixon, Christina Weisvenning, Tegan Freely, Bryn Michelson, and Isabella Reprecht completed 80 or more hours on a project that impacted the local community and were recognized as Gold Award candidates, an award that less than 6% of Girl Scouts nationwide achieve. This is the highest number of Gold Award candidates at Ridgewood High School since 2019. On November 2nd, RHS math teacher Ms. Gattoni and RHS senior Connor Neenan took on the New York City Marathon. On November 6th, the RHS World Support Alliance and Cambodia Club held their 2nd annual Who's Got Talent Night, showcasing talented young students and raising money for the Cambodia Rural School Project, which is a partnership between Ridgewood and Cambodia. While our teachers were at the state convention during November 6th and 7th, Alps had a backpacking trip to Harriman State Park where they hiked, camped, and practiced essential outdoor skills. On the 11th, we had 21 senior student athletes signing their commitments to continuing their athletic careers at the D1, D2, and D3 collegiate level. I was told from Mr. Nice that Mr. Cook had a small cake prepared for every athlete who signed, and each one was customized with the colors and logos of their future school, which is awesome. Huge congratulations to all of those athletes. On November 12th, the cheer team hosted No Cook Night, which 20% of all money spent on orders from those who came to support the team at the World's Flat restaurant went toward the cheer team. On November 13th, the first Maroon and White recital of the year happened in the Learning Commons, highlighting solo musical and dance performances as well as curated art exhibits. Also on the 13th, members of the RHS Green Club went to Hawes Elementary School to work with 5th graders on their composting program. They constructed compost bins with them, educated them on the composting process, and discussed other ways to make a positive environmental impact. On November 14th, new players concluded sales for their upcoming cabaret show, which is their most important fundraiser of the year. Those who bought a ticket will attend an Italian dinner at Botagra Restaurant in Hawthorne on Sunday the 23rd, and will also get to watch a performance of selected Broadway favorites by the talented new players. Our fall sports season has come to an end, but to end off the season, our girls cross country team won the Group 4 state championship this past weekend. And today, tryouts began for swimming, bowling, crew, and ice hockey, which includes women's ice hockey, which I'm sure you all know is a new program this year. Next week, on Monday the 24th, tryouts will begin for basketball, indoor track, wrestling, cheerleading, winter guard, and alpine ski team. And last but certainly not least, the ice hockey team is hosting a fundraiser at Chipotle tomorrow, which is the 18th. If you go to the Chipotle in Paramus between 5 and 9 p.m. and use their code, 25% of the money you spend will go toward raising money for the ice hockey program. That concludes my report. Thank you. Oh, Eli has.
Just want to add, last Thursday, I got the chance to go with Mr. Ferrari and a couple other Ridgewood High School students down to the Bergen County Equity Think Tank in Ramapo. This is our 3rd year of doing it. We met with now 15 other schools from across the county, which is the highest it's been for any other year. And we talked about microaggressions. We met kids from the other schools, had conversations with them, had conversations in our districts, and thought about ways that we could make our school district more equitable. So we'll be meeting 2 other times throughout the year, but this was a great event with a lot of Ridgewood High School students. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, especially Violet and Arf, who did a great job putting that report together. But thank you also, Eli and Grace, for your contributions. Appreciate you very much.
There is no shortage of activities and things happening at the high school, right? Yeah. Okay, now we'll move to comments from the public. I don't think we have any public here, so we will go to remote. Not seeing any, I'll close public comment. We do have a comment period at the end of the meeting. Dr. Schwartz, your superintendent report?
Yes, thanks, everyone. So first of all, we had a coffee event on last Thursday. We had quite a few attendees and actually went quite long. We had lots of comments and great discussion and dialogue. So thank you to everyone who attended. The coffees are recorded. They are on the website, so everyone can go ahead and take a look and listen to back recordings. They're also on YouTube. But you can also, if you want to participate, as a reminder, I noticed we had a pretty significant spike once we got to once we got to the questions portion. So been eating some delicious bread now. Throat dried out there. So our next coffee is on December 11th. Oh, but what I was saying is I noticed that people are catching on to the process because we had about 29 people logged in for the presentation portion, and then that spiked up to about 50 by the time that we were at the question portion. And Eli actually joined us again. So thank you for that, Eli. And you guys are always welcome to join us. Not that you have to or even should, frankly, but you're always welcome to. So thank you for being there.
Longer than usual, too.
Yeah, yeah,
Over
and
2 hours.
yeah, not even necessarily controversial, just lots of really interesting topics to discuss. Yeah, lots of folks, lots of questions, lots of good thoughts. So really grateful for everyone's participation. And what the public doesn't necessarily see too is that we actually often will have continued dialogue with folks who come and speak. So we had some people sharing studies with us about screen time. We had some nice conversation dialogue, got to read some really nice research on that area. So all very helpful. So we listen and we learn from each other. So please be a part of that learning process and share with us and join us at the coffee. Next one's on December 11th. This coffee is actually going to be after the board meeting, but we'll go over. So in the name of keeping that theme, our board meeting is on the same week. So that would be the 8th, December 8th. And at that meeting, we don't have any presentations here tonight except for our students' presentation. But at that meeting, Dr. Fenwick is going to do the State of Special Education address. That's a tentative plan. We're making good progress on that, right? So we intend to give that presentation. So if you're interested in special education, she gave the first last year. I think we just called it a special ed review last year, but we're kind of rebranding it to be like a following because it really is a substantive. So please join us if you're interested. We'll go over it again for those who missed it at the superintendent coffee, but not at the same level of detail that will go with the board. So if you want to get the full presentation, please join us at our next Board of Education meeting. And then we're scheduled for a district goal update with the Vision 2030 goals and all the initiatives we have going on at our January meeting. So we look forward to sharing all those things with you. A couple of just other things, just little notes and odds and ends. I just want to thank everybody for their donations. When we had many, I want to thank the HSAs especially. They did a lot of work in trying to really mobilize folks when it was clear that the government shutdown was going to potentially leave some Ridgewood families without SNAP benefits. So they wanted they really wanted to mobilize. So Ms. Christine Corliss did a great job of helping to organize all of them, and just the schools already have a lot in place. I know the Interact Club and many other clubs of the school do a lot to food collection. So we already had a lot of good mechanisms in place. It wasn't too heavy of a lift. It was really just about coordinating those efforts. Ms. Corliss did a really nice job of coordinating with the HSAs, and of course we collected plenty of donations. But I wanted to just say, and we put this in our follow-up letter, that Thanksgiving is a big time for driving for food. So we don't want to be over. We don't want to be done. So please, whether you donate it or not, please continue to donate for Thanksgiving purposes so we can help out those families in need. I also want to thank everybody for their flexibility the day on Election Day. I put out some messaging about the bomb scare that we received via email. And so I just want to give everybody assurances we are having conversations. We're going to be convening the calendar committee, and we'll talk about the viability of holding school on election days I've already had a conversation with the village about, and Mr. Kazmark, the village manager, about the drivers behind the schools being polling places. And a lot of that does come from the county. So nevertheless, we are having conversations around, are there alternatives to not holding polling in schools? But again, this isn't just a village preference concern. It is the county clerk's office has some very strong guidance about how we operate. So nevertheless, we're going to continue conversations there, and we have to figure out what we're going to do, not only for the major elections, but the primaries. But it does seem to me like it would be ill-advised to schedule on general elections, to schedule school on the basis of the fact that here we've been disrupted now 2 years in a row. And there's obviously other general concerns too. I know a lot of folks have reached out concerned about safety, having so many visitors in the school during the school day. So we're taking all that into consideration. I do want to share, we did use an emergency day, which means we have 2 emergency days left. So, and I actually just read a news report today. I didn't get into it was from a reputable source, but I'm not sure how reliable the projections are, but calling for the snowiest winter in 5 years. So, so we're only going with 2 emergency days, possibly into a snowy winter. So we'll see what happens. But we'll keep you posted on that. And then, as a district, we're really in the height of budget season right now. So we're in the beginning of budget season right now. So Mr. Matthews has been setting up our budget process. We're gearing up to do a bunch of financial analyses, but now is the time when we really set the budget to fund programs and fund all of our initiatives for 26, 27. So this is a very important time for us. Everyone should know too, this is a difficult time, and this is not unique to our school district. The cost of health benefits for everyone are going up dramatically, as are the cost of utilities. So we actually have a resolution here tonight. We've been working with our local labor associations and the board here about trying to find if there's a better option where we might be able to incur less negative financial impact as we go into the new year. So there is a resolution related to that tonight. I want to thank our board members and thank our administrative team and thank our union leaders who have put in a lot of time to really give consideration to this very important, this very serious decision. And I think we're heading in a good direction considering the circumstances. We're committed to making sure that our transition goes smoothly. And for those who might be concerned about our teachers and everyone's benefits who are employees of the school, I just want to be very clear. We will always provide equal or better coverage as is required by law and our collective bargaining agreements as well. So I want to make sure that there's a minimal disruption to everybody, but also we're protecting everybody from a cost savings perspective. And I think we already touched on the fall season's over, the spring season starting. Good luck to everybody who's involved in activities. And I'll just end by saying happy Thanksgiving, everyone, if we don't see you. And I hope you have a very peaceful and relaxing Thanksgiving week next week.
Thank you, Dr. Schwartz. All right, board committee reports, finance, we know what you've been doing. I don't know if you have anything to add or what you.
Not really, to be honest with you. The big finance news is the resolution tonight to change from the health insurance to private. And, we're continuing to discuss budgeting priorities. But that's all.
I want to thank both of you for the work you've done. I know you put in extra hours on this, so thank you for that. I think we'll have a good resolution to that.
And I want to thank Dr. Schwartz and Rich and the whole team. I mean, this was a very tight timeline. We pushed for changing our broker because we were not thrilled. So we wanted to make that change. We moved on it very, very quickly. Then they got to work very quickly as well. And we met about it very quickly. So, I mean, normally I think this probably would have been like a 6-month process minimum, but we got it done pretty quickly. So thank you, Rich and team and Jamie and everybody for that.
We'll just, policy?
So policy, we were able to kind of finalize the 2 policies that we've been working on for a little while, which were student grievance, which we had pulled at the last meeting because I remember I had some concerns about the board not overstepping its role. we had a good discussion about that. And I think Dr. Shores may have inserted a bit of language in there that just referred to the policy, the complementary policy,
Yep.
which says that when it comes to an academic decision, that the principal building is the final say there. So that is on for first reading tonight, or yes. And then the other thing is, we spent a long time, and I'm very happy with the result, but you remember last year we had an unfortunate incident where we had a very important football game scheduled on the same night as a very important cultural holiday, and it caused a lot of problems. We don't want a repeat of that. And so, again, Dr. Shores worked very, very hard on some language that just confirms.
Policy committee. It was, this is.
Well, yeah, well, okay, fair enough. But at the end of the day, you were the one who came up with the right language. I want to give credit where credit is due. And that just solidifies in policy that the intent is always to make sure that extracurriculars are not scheduled in a way that would ever interfere with the celebration of an important cultural holiday. And I feel like we came to a good resolution. We took our time. We did it right. That's my opinion. So that's on tonight also. Did you have anything you wanted to add there?
No, but it's very important that everybody feels included, and looking at the language that we use to explain different reasons. I think the final product is a very good one to include everybody, and to recognize that school does spill over to homework in the evenings and to other events, and trying to, just recognize that, and not to put students in a difficult position to decide between schoolwork and their family time.
Job on that. Yeah. So, let's see, communications, and then we'll go to facilities and curriculum.
In communications, we are looking at the rolling out the different engagement and getting people more involved for Vision 2030 with the branding and the, well, posters, but that seems so minimal to say posters, but just getting out the message for that in the upcoming time. And I am a person that's been involved with websites here at the district for a long time. It's very nice that our website is a very user-friendly website, what we're using now, and the other technology that allows us to have the users have a bot to answer questions and to steer them to find things. Because as much as multiple users who use it a lot feel they can find things, but there's always somebody who can't. And the helpful bots, as much as I don't like using them, but I guess somebody who's working 24/7. And I think that has shown, and we keep statistics and analyze what questions people, and that drives making those questions more visible to people. So I think that we're meeting the needs of our community with that.
I had some CPAG updates. You want to do yours? But yeah.
Yeah, I was
however.
just gonna do, and Sarab, would you like to do facilities or?
No, I'm good. You can do it.
Okay, on facilities, we're beginning to look at our solar panels and what our alternatives are, and the staff met with Vatira to begin that conversation. So more to come on that as to what our options will be, and what the recommendation will be from our administration. Might notice that there's been a proposal to rest some of our fields during the summer and in periods where these have not been really overly utilized. So this would be, I think, a good step in making sure that our fields continue to be good. There was some plumbing issues in GW locker room, and that has been addressed and fixed. We did have the water leak, the STEPS program. I'm not sure where we are right now. Last week when we met, they were doing the repairs. Are we close? Or
Yeah, we're close, but we had a plumbing issue just today. You want to speak to it, Joe?
At the STEPS program?
Yeah, we were supposed to have the place today, free access, but they had a plumbing issue today that they had to resolve. I think Joe's got the
Yeah,
latest on it.
the toilets were clogged in the two toilets, so tomorrow, at 1, they're having a plumber come in and to fix the toilets, and then they're gonna clean the floors and the bathrooms. And then we can probably, Wednesday, we were talking, we're gonna go over there tomorrow about 3 o'clock too, just to make sure how everything is, moving along.
I want to thank Mr. Higgins for joining me today to take the walkthrough. I appreciated the time.
You're welcome.
And really to the students for their, their resilience and their ability to move and
If
be
I
here at the
may.
Ed Center and for the staff at the Ed Center.
The staff and the students being here, at least in my opinion, has been such a pleasure to see them pivot to using our environment to help take on what they're trying to accomplish in communication and in thought and process. It's been really very rewarding for them and for us to see.
I suspect there'll be a little bit of a celebration when they get back to their.
They are ready, and they also have to do a lot of inventorying of what has been damaged, what needs to be replaced, and what can just return. Right now, everything is kind of pushed into the middle of the rooms. So, but that in and of itself is a great activity for them to go through and itemize everything. So
Sure.
they will see it as another exercise that's worthwhile.
Great. And finally, we've been having some audits. So PSE&G is doing an energy audit, and then we also have LGEA doing an audit. We're waiting for reports now on that, and these are about the energy use and direct install of any equipment. As far as curriculum goes, there's a lot happening, and I thank the staff for all their work. So there'll be a change to science for the high school, where in 9th grade, all students will take biology, CP or CPE or honors. 10th grade will be chemistry. 11th grade will be physics or environmental science. So they're going to move environmental science out of necessarily being a freshman elective, I guess it's an elective. It's that or biology, to making it in the junior year. So, and then in 10th, in 12th grade, those students who want to take AP sciences can do that. So I think that will work well. In the middle school.
Can I just get some clarity on that?
Mhm.
So students can now take biology honors freshman year, and junior year, can they still take AP physics, or is that now only senior year?
No, I don't think it's only senior year, AP physics, right?
Got it. Okay.
Hmm?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, she didn't say that was a change. Yeah. In the middle school, we're having a new science program, Open Sci-Ed. And that will be phased in over the next 3 years. So 6th grade, then next year, 7th grade, and 27, 28, 8th grade, 28, 29, because of the different units of study, so that every student will get all units of study, doing it that way. There's a little bit of reorganization of the visual and performing arts. And there'll be a honors opportunity for our students in the arts. It might not be a separate class, but you may do additional and take on additional activities or responsibilities in a regular CP class to earn honors credit. So I think that's a positive going for our students taking arts. I think that's it. I mean, there's just a lot of good conversations about curriculum. And again, our best way to meet the needs of our students and improve the opportunities that they have.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
So the geometry, which is what freshmen take now, has an honors level, as does bio. Is there any talk about history of the modern world and literary world views becoming honors classes so that it's on both humanities and STEM?
I
Okay.
do not know the answer to that question.
That would be a question for Mr. Ross.
We haven't had any conversation about that right now. The idea is, excuse me, the idea is that math and science would be in lockstep at this point. So, it's possible that down the line we may have that conversation. We're just not there yet.
Okay.
So I think from science perspective, if you compare math, a lot of students were able to take a 9th grade advanced math with 4.5 as their GPA, but in advanced biology was not counted for 4.5, right? It was just 4.0. So that's what they are trying to equate. Like, so students who are taking the advanced courses on science side will have 4.5 as their GPA. So then, but yeah, that's a good point about arts and other streams. So maybe talk to Mr. Nias, and if you're part of principal's advisory committee, and that would be a good opportunity to go and talk to him.
And part of the reason also is because those two classes could have 10th graders in them, and 10th graders are eligible for honors classes, and we don't want to make it so that there are 10th graders that cannot take honors math or science because they're taking a class that is primarily a freshman class. Does that make sense for you guys?
Hello. Okay. Miss Brogan, you mentioned that students will have the opportunity for additional responsibilities in CP to get honors credit. I was wondering if you had any examples or an idea what that would look like, because I
In
think
the
it's
arts, in the arts.
in the arts.
In art classes is where it is. So an example might be performance in the maroon and white, or doing an extra project, or right? Am I speaking correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, we might be in the same art class, but Violet might be, the person who is just all in on art and wants to take it to the next level with individual projects, that sort of thing. So, that's basically the vision for this. And it really does speak to also the district's commitment to differentiation as well in that class.
Sorry, one more follow-up. So just for clarification, this would be like having the opportunity to get an honors credit when there is no actual honors art class available.
Yes, but the class will be coded as an honors class on your transcript. So it just means that you'll share the same physical space, honors and CP kids in the same class.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, we'll move to consent items, regular and routine. And the first is attendance at conferences, and there was some adjustments we had some discussion about that we were at the end of our budget line for travel.
Yeah, I referenced.
But there has been some adjustments.
I referenced that last week, and what we determined is that we found is that the individual in the office here who took over the responsibility for calculating that was including far more things in that line than was actually necessary. So we went back, removed those items. It's a separate calculation. It doesn't draw directly only out of the professional development lines. Mr. Matthews, do you want to share about that a little bit and clarify?
Yeah, that is correct. What's required is that we track the travel line. And the budget line for that entire line is like 359, but for travel was 150. It was approved at our meeting we had back in March timeframe. So we approved 150 for the year, and we were tracking all PD for the entire year in all categories, not just travel. So the number that we had the last meeting was a combination of travel and non-travel. That's why it was so close to the budget line of 150. So the actual budget of 150 so far year to date, we've expended only $26,000. We've covered $57,000 of that 150.
Right.
So that's why we got it down to what it's really should be tracked as opposed to tracking every activity regarding PD.
And thank you for making that correction. Yeah.
I'm sorry for the confusion.
So, attendance at conference. Would someone like to move that? Second it?
I'll second it.
Yes.
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 Yes. Administration. I move administration.
I'll second. Yes.
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 Yes. We're on to curriculum instruction and the field trips. Someone like to move that?
I'll move field trips.
Yes.
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 Yes. I move human resources. Thank you, Jamie, for all your work continuing.
I'll second. Yes.
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 Yes. Just scrolling through here. Finance. Would you like to move finance?
More finance.
A second? And just to read the restricted donations into the record and thank them. Boris Finkelstein, $970, gift in kind of wristbands and keychains for Travell Elementary School. Paramus Rotary Club for $500 to be used for community engagement activities and program event costs for the STEPS transition program. Are there any questions on finance?
Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Donnie? Yes. Ms. Sandy?
Yes.
Ms. McCallum? Ms. Mahmood?
Yes.
Ms. Brogan?
Yes.
5 affirmative.
Resolutions and motions not included in consent agenda. We have a resolution about the change in our health insurance carrier. So I'll read.
And that has been for the public, that has been added to the website that is available for their view.
Thank you. So approval authorization to change health insurance carriers from the state,
Employee. State
the
employee health.
school employment, the school employee health benefits program, right? To Aetna CVS effective January 1st, 2026.
Would you like me to read the resolution for the, as the administrator recommending it?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so I'll just read this into the record. Mr. Matthews, if you can place it in the record, please. It reads as follows: resolutions and motions not included in consent agenda. Approval, authorization to change health insurance carrier from SEHBP to Aetna CVS effective January 1st, 2026. Whereas the Ridgewood Board of Education Board was notified by the State Health Benefits Program, SHBP, of significant rate increases, 33.38% for medical and prescription benefits covering eligible employees, teachers, administrators, and co-dependents, collectively members. And whereas the board, keeping the fiscal interests of taxpayers and the welfare of members foremost, directed its appointment broker of record, Alamo Insurance Group, to conduct a diligent and comprehensive market analysis of alternative carriers. And whereas, after a thorough review of available options and rate proposals, Alamo Insurance Group identified Aetna CVS Health as the most affordable and responsible and sustainable carrier, offering plan designs equal to or better than those provided under the current state employees health benefit plan options in accordance with the board's collective bargaining agreements. And whereas the transitioning to Aetna CVS will result in substantial savings to the district while maintaining equivalent or enhanced benefits for all members. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that the Board of Education, Ridgewood Board of Education, hereby approves the transition of its employee medical and prescription benefits coverage from the State Health Benefits Program to Aetna CVS Health effective January 1st, 2026. And be it further resolved that the board authorizes its business administrator, Mr. Richard Matthews, to execute any and all documents necessary to implement this change and to coordinate with Alamo Insurance Group Incorporated to ensure as smooth a transition as possible for all covered members.
I move.
I'll second.
Moved by Ms. Brogan, seconded by Mr. Mahmood.
Yeah, so, when the roll call happens, I'll be voting yes, but I just wanted to point out that the presentation we received has 31.9% increase for active employees, and the resolution says 33.38. So we may just want to, because we put the number, because no other number is mentioned in the resolution except this. So yeah, if we are putting a number in the resolution, maybe it should be correct.
That's higher than I've seen 30.
I'm just gonna strike that on the record.
Yeah, we can just
Yeah.
remove the.
Yeah, can we just, Mr. Matthews, can you just please edit my resolution? Where I said of significant rate increases and I cited a specific percent, please strike that specific percent from the record.
Everything else is good.
Yeah.
Everything else is.
So it should, the first whereas should read, whereas the Ridgewood Board of Education Board was notified by the State Health Benefits Program of significant rate increases for medical and prescription benefits covering eligible employees, et cetera. Thank you.
All right, so motion by Ms. Brogan, second by Mr. Mahmood, strike on record the 33.3%. Roll call, Mr. Donnie,
Yes.
Ms. Handy,
Yes.
Ms. McCallum,
Yes.
Ms. Mahmood,
Yes.
Ms. Brogan,
Yes.
five affirmative.
Now we have, oh,
Okay, I have another recommendation to read into the record. Titled Approval Affirmative of the Decision of the Superintendent pursuant to NJSA 18A 37-15B6E. Whereas the district received a report of an incident of harassment, intimidation, and bullying, HIV. Whereas the district investigated the report pursuant to district policy and NJSA 18A 37-15B6 and determined that an incident of HIV had occurred. Whereas the parents of the students involved requested a hearing before the board pursuant to NJSA 18A 37-15B6D. Whereas at its meeting on November 17th, 2025, the board heard from the parents and principals, and whereas after considering the positions of the parents and the evidence presented by the district administration, the board is determined to affirm the determination of the superintendent. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Ridgewood Board of Education pursuant to NJSA 18A 37-15B6E hereby affirms the superintendent's decision from September 2025 and the HIV matter involving student number 817091. Actually, we have to just strike, we have to alter the record there. Let me change that again. It's from October 2025. So let's just read that last line again. Now therefore be it resolved that the Ridgewood Board of Education pursuant to NJSA 18A 37-15B6E hereby affirms the superintendent's decision from October 2025 on the HIV matter involving student number 817091.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Moved by Ms. McCallum, second by Ms. Handy. Roll call, Mr. Donnie,
No.
Ms. Handy,
Yes.
Ms. McCallum,
Yes.
Ms. Mahmood,
Abstain.
Ms. Brogan. Abstain. So you have 2 yes, 1 no, 2 abstentions, motion carries.
we'll move to approval of bills. Mohammed,
Yes, I would like to present forward for approval the bills listed here on page 13. I have reviewed those and present them for approval.
Second. Second, Mr. McCallum. Question? No questions? Roll call, Mr. Donnie,
We are voting on bills, right?
What is that?
For bills.
yes.
Bills here.
Yes.
Ms. Handy,
Yes.
Ms. McCallum, Ms. Mahmood,
Yes.
Ms. Brogan,
Yes.
five affirmative.
Board member announcements?
Thanks. So on behalf of CPAC Group, We just have a couple of dates coming up that I just want to remind everybody on, December 2nd, which is a Thursday at 6 p.m. There's the Special Education Parent Focus Group is going to be moving forward. And if you're looking to participate in that, you would contact either Dr. Fenwick or Alicia Pavone, or Karen Powers was also listed in the CPEG email. There will be a virtual coffee chat for the CPEG members on December 4th at 7:30 p.m. And that link is in the newsletter. The special ed report will be here at the Board of Ed meeting on December 8th. And then on December 9th at 9:30 in the morning, we have the general info meeting for CPAG, which will focus on structured literacy. And the other thing that I just wanted to, and I wanted to thank and congratulate Dr. Schwartz, because he testified, it was this week, right? I feel like time is last week, testified before the state on the discrepancy between the state's calculation of what constitutes a graduate, right, and our graduation rates versus what is really happening with our kids that are in the STEPS program. And he shared some of the testimony with board members, and we were listening to it. And I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to go down to Trenton and to testify, and to not only talk about the practical effects of it with regard to the district, but also you brought a very human element to it to discuss, you know, the effects on the family and the kids, and how it kind of underestimates, I would say, their accomplishments and what they've done. And so I thought that was well done, and I acknowledge you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And I would like to add that you also invited the CPEG president to come along, who is also able to talk about this issue. And so thank you for that, because that another sign of inclusion.
Yeah, Ms. Beerley was kind enough to drive all the way down to Trenton also, even though she wasn't actually able to be a part of the actual presentation, but her support was great. She had a chance to work with a few folks afterwards. We're all trying to work together to further this cause. It's got some good coverage from PIX 11.
Yeah, saw that.
I just wanted to say that Melissa Del Russo will be joining us on December 8th. She is the NJ SBA field rep, and we'll have a report on the self-evaluation that was completed. So thank you for the board members who did that. Any other, Mary Lou or Sarab, did you have any announcement? Okay. Discussion items, revised policies. I think we touched on that. Did anything else to, no? Okay, and then Sarab, you asked for this to be on the agenda, bike lanes near Somerville.
Yes, so the reason I requested to add this to the agenda was I was listening to Village Council meeting 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I heard a comment from Councilwoman Vinaigrette that the bike lane project that's going on South Pleasant for, and it will be for Somerville House, that was, and she said we worked with Board of Ed, or Board of Ed was like part of it, something, she implied that Board of Ed was part of this decision. And I'm on the facilities committee. I was hearing about that for the first time. So I just wanted to learn who from Board of Ed was part of it and what was Board of Ed's involvement in that project, because my understanding is we usually don't like the safety and getting the students to the school is village council, municipal requirement, unless we are providing busing. But so I just want to understand, because that was a pretty affirmative comment that Board of Ed was part of this decision-making process. That was implied. So I just wanted to understand what does that mean from Board of Ed's perspective?
I'm sorry, I don't know, I don't recall if we had a chance to circle back, but I did call Mr. Casmar to learn a little more. That was news to me. So it sounds as though what did occur, what the council person was referencing, was that some of our students gave a presentation to them as part of an AP project, and that the individual who was making the comment was speaking broadly. So unless someone else has any knowledge beyond that, I don't have any knowledge of the project.
No, she mentioned students made the presentation. That was in the first meeting. And then at the follow-up meeting, next meeting, she said that students made the presentation and Board of Ed was basically part of it. This is it.
Not that I'm
So
aware of.
she was definitely not referencing Board of Ed. She is graduate from high school. She understands Board of Ed versus students, difference between Board of Ed and students.
Did you speak to her or anything? Or anyone?
No, I first wanted to find out here that if anybody on Board of Ed's behalf made any promises or looked at that study or,
No,
because
I
it basically
just heard
impacts
the student-
parking.
I just heard the student presentation, but I hadn't had any discussion and didn't have know the design, what they were doing, so.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to confirm that if Board of Ed wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't realize that there were like two separate things. So again, we can certainly reach out to see if maybe there's a miscommunication or confusion, but it's news to me.
And then I had another discussion item.
Sure.
That's not, I did not request on the agenda. And Mr. Ross, for you, it may be a new thing that I'm talking about. But I have raised that in curriculum committee meetings prior to you joining those meetings. And so I should have given a heads up, but it's discussed in more than one curriculum meeting that I brought it up. And I'm just bringing it because we are probably working through the budget cycle and the current software that we have for parents to look at, that does not provide them enough information on curriculum and what's being taught in class. Atlas, it's basically just an outline. And at one of the curriculum committee meetings, I did show an example of some other schools where teachers upload their daily class assignments, not something similar to Google Site, but parents don't have access to that, right? So a catalog where parents can see what is being taught, what is the curriculum, what is the timeline for that curriculum. So more visibility to parents through whatever software we are using. So what I'm requesting is, are we using the right software? Do we need to change that? And do we need to put anything in the budget cycle when we are working on the budget? So that was just one thing I wanted to bring up.
Well, to your point, we do have a scope and sequence in our Rubicon. So that will tell you exactly what's happening at what time of year. You can then click on those bars to go into the individual units and see the specific assignments and all the skills that are being taught, the enduring questions and understandings. That
Right,
sort of thing.
skill is different, but the actual content. So what Rubicon shows is titles, right? And a lot of the time it shows like I've heard the comment about grammar book that, oh, we are not using that, right? So what is actually part of our syllabus and what is actually being taught? And if parents have that visibility, I think that will help.
I think this is
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's probably a good curriculum committee topic.
Yeah, I think this is something we can really delve into.
Because then we can pull it up on the screen. and
Yeah,
talk
we can really go into.
So we can go through that, but I just wanted to mention that I'll be bringing this up in these meetings because there have been items in curriculum committee meeting that basically I have the check-in, but then those check-ins become next check-in and next check-in. So this is something that I had brought up more than a year ago. I think, Mary, when you were on curriculum committee. So it's almost a year when I did a presentation from other schools. So if it just keeps going in check-ins, I think it's an important topic that parents should know what is being taught to their students in classroom. They should have a way to find out.
I'll attest to the fact that Mr. Ross and I actually, well, quite a while ago, actually already, like last year, had this exact topic about what's the correct level of information for parents, because we've had conversations with parents. So did you want to talk about that, Mr. Ross?
We've had this conversation, and one of the things we had talked about at the time was I'm not sure if you're talking about lesson plans themselves, but traditionally we collect lesson plans from teachers. However, Dr. Schwartz and I had extensive conversations about what might be a better submission from a teacher, and it might be more useful to have teachers do something akin to a monthly and weekly calendar of all the things that are happening in the classroom in lieu of traditional lesson plans. And this calendar could be accessible to parents. We have not brought that to fruition yet, but it's something we kicked around a little bit as an additional level of detail that would be useful to parents, especially the parents who want to sit down next to a student and say, okay, let's go over the geometry, that sort of thing. I know that we are all working on a particular concept. I do think this is a good topic for us to discuss, and I think I would be interested in seeing any materials you've submitted to my predecessors.
Yeah, and it's not just, again, it's not just these headlines or topic level detail. If it would be useful to see if they are referencing specific textbooks, what textbooks are they referring? If they are referring any specific articles, what articles are being included? Because there are controversial topics, and I think parents should know what is being taught to their students in the classroom.
No, that's fair. And I think there might be two levels of conversation happening right now. One is that much larger core resource conversation that we've been having, as in which textbook are we using? What are the 7 key articles that we'll be citing over the course of a semester, that sort of thing. That is very much underway. Especially at the middle school level, we're drilling down into that because I think that's where we have seen the greatest disparity over the last couple of years. If you're talking about something in addition to that, I think that's a conversation that we've yet to really begin in earnest.
Right. So if you are going to implement that at middle school level, and if you don't have the right software to support that, then you will be doing a lot of extra work.
I think the software is okay. I think, to be perfectly honest with you,
Rubicon?
Yes. Now, that's not to say that we've optimized its use in every situation. However, I would say that as an educator, I'm more concerned with the taught curriculum matching the written curriculum. And I think that might have been the greater concern over the years. So that's what we're attacking first.
So the Rubicon will show what's the planned curriculum, but how will a parent know that that was actually covered?
Well, right. I mean, that's exactly what should be happening in the classroom. So that's conversations with the teacher. That's looking at whatever is sent home, whether we're talking about writing assignments, tests, projects, that sort of thing. So I think the first thing for us to do is to make sure that we are teaching the same curriculum in both houses of a middle school or on one end of town and the other, in the rooms that are adjacent to each other. The next thing to do is make sure that we are getting that information out to the public. So that means that that's going home with kids, whether that's, that could be through a Google Classroom. Those could be things that are in backpacks, so that's a level of detail that we have to get to. But I first want to be sure that the consistency is happening.
And I was just going to add, parents have access to Google Classroom where, at least at the high school level and now more so at the middle school level, 90% of students' assignments are. So if they want to see what articles are being read, they can go on Classroom, see a PDF of the article and read it along with the kid.
Parents have access through their own accounts?
Through the kid's account.
I don't have access to my kids' account. Kids don't share that.
I think what Mr. Donnie's referring to is the parent being able to access something independent of.
Yeah,
the student.
a child should not have to share their password with me, right? I should be able to log in with my account and see what's being taught. And so, Mr. Ross, that's what you just said is what I was trying to say politely by making it more transparent, right? But if we have a problem where we are not teaching the same curriculum in 2 classrooms in the same building and across the 2 buildings, how will you ensure that unless you make parents as collaborators and make it more transparent?
Well, I can start ensuring it by making sure that I have conversations with the departmental supervisors, the principals, the teachers themselves.
And
right?
how long will that process take?
Well, it's happening right now. It's in process. And we've been having meetings. There are weekly, or I should say, there are weekly meetings at the elementary level, but every 4th meeting, I think, is set for the actual articulation within and across departments.
So if I may, first
Yeah,
of all,
please.
I appreciate your diplomacy with the way you did ask the question in the first place. That nuance was not lost on me. So thank you for that. I think it's more than a software issue. And to your point, we don't even know that we're necessarily utilizing the software as we should. So I wasn't suggesting that we add it as a check-in item for you on the agenda. I'm suggesting we make it an actual curriculum item that we actually work on from month to month. It'll take a little time. And ideally, really, we do all these things at the same time. Because if we work to align those efforts and we're working prospectively, then if we can have the parent documents, the Google Classrooms, the course syllabus, the teacher's perspective, the curriculum, the supervisor's perspective, all aligned in the same way, that's when we'll know that that's when we'll start to begin to actually align the work. So why don't we just make this an ongoing item in curriculum?
Absolutely. And I would just add that we did post for the first time this year on the website, K-5 course competencies. They're all listed out. This one up on back to school nights. And then we also have the 6 to 8 with their resources up there too. So that's up for the first time. So more documentation like that will be forthcoming.
I just wanted to clarify, unless something has changed in the last year and a half, at the middle school, parents don't have an automatic review or access to Google Classroom of their child. They don't have a parent login. And at the high school, I'm not so sure it's automatic either. It's up to a teacher that would then say, a teacher can trigger, there's a access to it. And so one of my daughter's teachers has given parents access to Google Classroom. But that's something that's new this year that I experienced. But up until this point, as a teacher and as a parent, I never was able to view Google Classroom. And when that happens, then the parents can also see the assignments and the work that the students give. And there's been concerns through the years about giving parents access to that for different reasons. We don't need to be here all night, but pro and con, granted, because there's papers you bring home and parents can see, but there's work that stays and the online that they may not see when they get to middle school and high school, because each class is a little bit different. But I see both ways, but it's not automatic.
Got it.
It's teacher allowed.
Yeah, I'm all for discussing in curriculum as long as it keeps moving.
Can I just add that?
If it becomes an item for check-ins, then I'll bring it back here.
I just wanted to add that the discrepancy between parent access on Classroom, I think this is something that could be done on Skyward. Because Skyward now has that like calendar feature where parents can see what's going on assignment wise and in terms of grades in a systematically organized way. And also recently what I've noticed with like quarterly reports is that teachers are now putting in like small, very, very small reports on, student performance in the classroom. I think that that is something via Skyward that can be done more frequently, right? There could be a weekly what's happening in the classroom report that happens via Skyward and saves a lot of that software infrastructure investment.
I have just two other quick items. They're just really requests. So for the facilities committee, can we focus on the plan for BF fields? I've been getting a lot of questions. What is the plan for that? I know Dave from Manello had mentioned that he could make it work potentially as a natural grass. It needs more investment and plan, etc. So if we could just do a double click on that and just come out with like, what is the plan for BF? Personally, if there is a way to make it a grass field that works, great. But if not, we have to make some decisions. Just a request for facilities on that one. Okay. And then just the second one, maybe for Mr. Ross, I'm not sure who this would go to, is again, not now or in the next few weeks, but can we explore the whole intramural sports idea for our elementary, middle, high school? Is there an appetite for that? Could we do it? Yes, go ahead.
So I can actually speak at the high school level, principal advisory of a group of great students working on that, starting to look at kind of what fields we have as a district, and then sort of planning around the existing use of fields, at least for this year, like what fields might be open in the winter or spring, and then trying to find sports that would fit that. So that we're starting to look into that, and we plan to bring that to the board.
That's amazing. Can you expand your work to include elementary and middle school and work with Mr. Ross on that?
We're starting with high school this year. We're going to start with probably 1 or 2 sports, and then see how that goes and expand as we move on.
Amazing. That's what we need. Thank you.
So Mohammed, if we consider any more facilities project after this insurance rate increase, I think finance should consider the micro referendum idea. That we need some predictable revenue every year for next 5 years. So so Mr. Matthews' team can plan for next 5 years, right? So if we commit that we'll bring every year, we'll be able to bring you X $million for facilities projects, then they can go and plan it, not dependent on what else can go high and low, and then where will we get the money from. So they would have some predictability for next 5 years, and they can create a 5-year long-range plan that for 5 years we'll do these projects. So finance should consider that. How will we fund, say, whatever number you pick, $4 million for 5 years, $5 million for 5 years, whatever number you pick. So that way they can come up with that much project every year, prioritize it, and not doing one big one and limiting every year to a small number will force us to reprioritize and prioritize every year and pick the high priority.
So can you sit with Mr. Matthews on that and just like dive deeper into that so we can add it to finance?
Right.
Began this discussion. We have a heat map, but we had some concerns about some of the projects.
It wasn't about referendum, it was about
Right.
priority.
I think
but
the
yeah.
concept of the
Yeah,
mini
but-
referendum.
Yeah,
is a-
I actually just made a note to put it on the finance committee agenda. We've talked about it quite a bit. But I think that, because we've talked about it.
Right.
So I think I understand it, but if you want to talk to Mr. Matthews or I'll relay it to him. But I do think it's time for the finance committee to discuss that type of thing.
And the intramurals, at least we can explore it somehow, like, is there interest? Can we do it? You know, it's a great opportunity for the students. If we can make it happen. I realize it may be difficult, but that's a huge.
Yeah, I think we're due to inventory all the different intramural efforts going on, because we do have some intramural programs that are currently functioning. We're looking at some other areas. There's a high school effort. So let's do a little inventory of it all as part of our budget planning process.
Just for one
Middle
second.
schools do have
Some-
intramurals.
Some,
Some-
they're
some.
very sporadic.
But I think that's where you start, though, is exactly what's happening, because we approve these extracurricular, throughout the agenda at different meetings. So to have a full list would be really helpful.
Just to circle back, and this is just for me, so that I make sure whatever committee I'm sitting on, right, that I understand it, is, I feel like I'm too close to the microphone, so I'm trying to move it away, so I agree 100% that I want to learn more and really dig into and understand the micro referendum idea. But I also want to understand exactly what we're looking at and what we're talking about in terms of the heat map and what the priorities are, and for all the buildings and all the fields, and looking at, and Dr. Schwartz, because I've been talking about it in committee, but we can't make one decision without the other. So it's a little bit chicken and an egg type thing, right?
Yes.
But for me, I need to have a much clearer sense of what our needs are, where we want to go. So those conversations in finance and facilities, and whatever it is, that we need to come to the bigger board table at some point, so that we can really move forward with.
So I'll give you one example for what I'm trying to communicate. So for example, we have probably a professional services budget that we know when Mr. Ross is working on his professional services plan for the next year, he knows that this was my budget for this year. I may go back and ask for 2% raise or 5% raise or adjust a little bit, but he knows a baseline number for next year. We know a baseline number for what will go in our salaries. We know a baseline number for different things, right? So for books, or every supervisor have their budgets. But if Mr. Matthews is working on his facilities plan, there's no capital budget for every year. So if he cannot make a 2-year, 3-year, 4-year, 5-year projection, because right now our plan is whatever is remaining from last year, whatever is savings from last year, we may put that in capital, right? So it's 2-year late. So our budget closes on June 30th. By the time it's audited and everything, it's late, and then we put that money in next year's follow budget. So we don't have a fixed budget every year for important or required capital projects. So if we come up with any small number that, okay, this is our number for every year for capital projects, that will go out to and we'll go out to the community, we'll make a presentation that, hey, this is what we want to do. And if you approve that, we will get 33% or 34% from the state. If you don't approve it, we are anyway budgeting it, we are keeping 100%. And so so it's just gives them a little predictability every year. And then they can plan within that number every year, and they can plan for 3, 4, 5 years. And that's, we
No,
can
no.
review so the whole board will review what are the required projects.
No, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I think one of the questions, and not for tonight, but doing a little bit at a time is certainly a good way to go. There might be a determination or a judgment call that more needs to be done at one time or less. And, and it depends on a million different things, right? So that's why I think those two conversations need to proceed somewhat parallel and somewhat together.
Right. So
We
there
can
is a
decide how
report.
best, but I do appreciate. the
Yes, so there is a
explanation you gave
report
me.
that was generated by
Right.
our architects. that
Yes,
was
no, I know.
given
I
to
think that's a
everybody.
good starting point.
Right,
But then
so we can look at
we just need to, okay, I think we know where we need to go. Thank you.
I'm
To think about having small referendums, I think we really would need to talk with our bonding attorney and get the lay of the land, because there can be voter fatigue if you were going to do that every single year. Maybe not, but hear that perspective of that, because when it doesn't get approved, then you're back at square one, sort of.
Yeah, so
So
from my
but
perspective, I think I have,
it's certainly worth a conversation.
sure, and I've been in front of the school board as a resident 6, 7 years ago. And this is exactly the type of arguments I was hearing, and I would repeat that we should not be working on a referendum based on what voters will approve. The whole perception that there is a voter fatigue or what will get approved, that should not direct what we are planning to do. We should do based on the projects that we need to do, not based on what we can get approved.
No.
Because if we don't need it, our report doesn't say that we need to spend several $100 million or several dozen $1 million. Then there are a lot of things that can wait for 5 years. If things can wait for 5 years, just because we think we should go to the voters in one shot, we want to try to do that in 1 year, that doesn't make sense to me. And
Right.
I'll
I
just
think
be
you're both saying,
opposed to
to
that.
be fair, I think you're both saying the same thing,
No.
which is, no.
No,
I-
she's
you know,
saying that what will
I know,
voter
just let me
approve.
finish. Let me finish.
Yeah.
Okay, which is that, and I know that we're not going to sit here and talk about this all night, right? But I think that reasonable minds can disagree as to whether a micro referendum or a major referendum is appropriate at any given point in time. I don't know, frankly, speaking only for myself, where I'm going to come down on that issue. And I cannot make that decision until I look at all of the projects, and you and I may disagree reasonably on what we think we need to do now.
I'm just going
versus
by the
5 years
architect's
from now.
recommendation.
And I think that one of the things that we want to consider is, if I think something needs to be done, I want to, if we think it's in the best interest of the students, right, then we want to present it and get it done in the best way that we can, right?
I agree.
And I think that there are different ways to do that.
I
That's
totally
all I'm
agree with
saying.
that. All I'm saying is, I'm not saying what I think, I'm presenting what our architect has presented to us.
Right, no, that's fine, that's fine. And then we have to review that. So anyway, I don't, Sheila doesn't really need me to speak for her, but I just thought it was worthwhile.
Yeah, just to summarize,
conversation to have.
just to summarize, we have a report from our architect that tells us what may be needed in 3 years, what may be needed in 5 years, what may be needed after 5 years, right? So we have a pretty good number there. And from that, we can pick the projects and decide.
My recommendation would be that if it's possible, if we can schedule the facilities meeting before the finance meeting in the next cycle, then we'll have had a chance to have a deeper conversation about that heat map. And then with your comfort, then I'll share the heat map with the finance committee.
That was just the heat map that we saw originally, just last.
It was formatted incorrectly. So we're
Okay.
going to get it right this time.
Okay, great. All righty. Acceptance of minutes. October 27th, executive session and regular public meetings. Do I have a motion? Mary?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Other business? Nope. Okay, comments from the public? Again, we have no public here and we have hands raised. Mr. Mulkeen? Mr. Mulkeen, you're on with the board.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me. A couple questions regarding the discipline presentation and the follow-up conversation from last week's coffee hour. So first question, how many of the alleged HIB investigations met the code of conduct criteria? I asked because, and this information is direct from the New Jersey Department of Ed SSDS guidance. It's important because it satisfies state and federal reporting requirements. Student demographic information is entered into the state reporting system if an incident meets code of conduct criteria or if it's a confirmed HIB. So reports of allegations may not be needed for a district presentation. However, a child's demographic information is still reported to the state. So the presentation was a bit misleading and warrants further clarification moving forward. I think Miss Murphy is probably the one that should be leading the presentation since she oversees both the investigative process and the personnel responsible for conducting the investigations. In 2023, 2024, there were 74 incidents, and that was based off of the superintendent's guidelines from his October 2024 presentation. And his comment was that all incidents should be reviewed through the HIB lens. And then the district reversed course to update the code of conduct policies for this year. So my next question is the state law, once an arbiter of last resort, now becoming the primary means of how the district disciplines students? Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Okay, nope, seeing no other hands, I'll close public comment. Dr. Schwartz, do you have anything you want to?
Yeah, just saying
respond?
thanks for joining us tonight, Mr. Mulkeen. We'll review your comments there and provide you with some sort of response once you've had a chance to review what you were referencing.
Second. Aye.
I think we should